already horning it in.
Jackass.
Hello, everyone, sports fans, goons, wrestling fans,
for you,
nerds. What do you want? Thank you, asshole. And welcome to My Brothers in Eight. Yes, it's that podcast where three of us morons are just going to sit here and talk shit to each other, apparently, for the next hour and a half.
What do you mean, apparently?
Yeah, apparently. That's how this is all going to work, apparently. At any rate, my name is Matt. I'm the king of the goons. Welcome. We're damn glad that you're here. Let me kick you around the rest of the squad. First to the Extreme Southern Command, my co-brother-in-law, Tank. What's shaking, Bacon?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Solid. Absolutely solid. All about it. How's things going down there? You doing good?
Oh, yeah, everything's doing pretty good down here. Cold as hell this week, but besides that, not bad.
Yeah, it was chilly, wasn't it? Absolutely. All right, well, all good. Whatever's clever. Welcome. Good to see you, bud. Next, and certainly not least, the man we've named the podcast after. He is the Kaiser, the Goldagoon. He also likes to call himself the one with the hair. I summon him, my brother, the idiot, Goon.
And I am here. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And you're a pirate.
Yeah. I lost my entire train of thought after that.
Well done.
I'd like to congratulate Tank on finishing second to me in the Family League.
You know what? You were going to win that. You deserved to win that. You had my ass beat last week, and through no fault of your own, you didn't win by 40.
And I didn't bitch about it like some people.
Oh, God. I did take third in the other one, though. I will claim that. In the Buffalo League, I took third, and I think there is a decent chance I would have ended up with third if that game went through anyway. So
right. Oh, yeah. I think you absolutely would have had me crushed.
Yeah. But yes, we have a new champion.
And that's the last time I get to sing this song for a little while. So nobody cares about your fantasy team.
There you go. Yes, you're right. Nobody does care about your fantasy team. Gentlemen, good to see you. Let's get rolling. First, we're going to get into the battle of the garbage mascots, the final two entries, final two games of the first round, I guess we could say. First, we have the Thunder versus the Celtics. Yes, I picked Thunder because it's just noise, and Celtics because they pronounce it incorrectly. Gentlemen, we'll start, Mark, with you. Which is the worst of the garbage mascots, the Thunder or the Celtics?
The one that they pronounce incorrectly?
Yeah.
I've been grinding this axe for a while, and so I'm going to just go right away at this one. So it's not a Celtic. It's Celtic is the kind of people that they're talking about. So absolutely, if you're going to mispronounce an entire brand of people, that's going to be the worst one. And Thunder, it can be kind of scary, like dogs and cats get scared of it and little kids and stuff. So that can be kind of scary. But Celtic is not pronounced correctly. So it's stupid.
Agreed. Tank, what say you?
It is stupid. I will give you that. But it's correct pronouncement is far scarier than Thunder. Thunder doesn't do anything. It's a sound. Whereas a Celtic warrior, that scared a lot of people.
I don't know if you've seen the Celtic that they have on the logo. I don't think.
Oh, you mean the greasy ass leprechaun? Yeah, not that one. Not that.
Yeah, he's less terrifying than the Fighting Irish, and that
not
not
the abomination to my culture. Not that thing.
Yeah, right. 100% cultural appropriation at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
It very much is. I'm actually going to agree with you. Just because they do it wrong, fuck you, Boston.
Right.
Celtics are dumber.
It sounded like you were leaning the other way, and I was going to have to break the tie and say the Celtics as well, but it's going to be a clean sweep.
Yeah.
Pronounce it correctly, for God's sake.
Yeah, if
That's
you did it
right.
correctly, you would have won. You would have been better.
Easy.
All right.
You wouldn't even been in this bracket.
Right? The Celtics move on.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Yep. Final match of the first round. We have the Spurs, metal implements meant to jab horses, and the 76ers, guys with muskets, I guess. Although
Well, I mean,
every other in the sports world has to do with the gold rush. So I'm not sure what
in theory, I'm assuming it's the Patriot 76ers.
Correct. Yeah. So Philadelphia, 1776. They got the
Right.
Liberty Bell there. 1776. They signed the Declaration of Independence at Liberty Hall in Philadelphia, which leads to why they are the 76ers.
Yeah, guys with muskets.
Would it be the guys with muskets, or would it be the guys with quills?
Oh, guys with quills.
Well, either way, I think both of those are. What was the other one?
A spur.
Spur.
Yeah. Definitely more terrifying than a spur.
Yeah, I think we'd have to put Spurs into garbage because 76ers, included in that 76ers would be George Washington, right?
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
far more intimidating than a spur.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw a spur at somebody.
Yeah, but you have to throw a spur.
I know.
It's not
The
just
spur,
like, oh,
spur
the
does not
spur.
throw itself. Yeah, it's a spur. Ching, 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 ching. They make noise when you walk, and horses don't like them.
You can bust through double doors like a maniac with spurs on. It's cool as fuck.
Yeah, you just kick open that saloon door. Boom!
Ping.
So we've established, unless you're a door or a horse, Spurs are not scary.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. I think we're going with
you're
Spurs.
most terrified of the Spurs if you're the ragtime piano player that's playing in there. You know?
Mongo
Or the
is
barkeep.
pawn in Game of Life. Yeah, just wiping out the one whiskey glass. Like, bro.
Hey, we don't take kindly to your kind at this place. Ding, 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 ding. And
Just
if you're
keep that iron.
walking into a pub, you certainly have at least one firearm on you, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't do that and not be armed.
Right? Just keep that iron on your hip and we'll be square.
And the three jabronis playing poker, and one of them's got 8 aces in his hand,
Right.
right next to the piano.
Boom, boom, boom.
Should be a record scratch in there when he stops playing, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Caleb
All right.
can't stop the sound effects now.
Right. Spurs it is. So when we next gather, gentlemen, we'll be in round 2. And we'll talk more then. Well done.
Yahoo.
Let's move on to news and notes in the NFL. When last we gathered, the NFL world had just really started to react to the horrible scene that happened in the Buffalo game. And the league has really come together and has done some really cool things. So to support Hamlin, who apparently is home today, which is great
Yes.
news. Yeah, got released today. So good for him. Got a long road ahead of him, but thoughts and prayers of the entire sports world are clearly with this guy. League-wide tributes just about everywhere. The one I thought, and this is one of the ones that I saw, again, it's here. So they had everybody lined up on the sidelines, and the Broncos and the Chargers both sent out their players that wore number 3 and had a quick prayer at the center of the field real quick, which I thought was
Russ
pretty
and
cool.
Derwin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also so happens that they were both team captains, so that
Exactly. That worked out perfectly, didn't it?
Yep.
fucking great timing.
Yeah.
Right. Cool stuff we're seeing. Yeah, guys?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The most important thing is the kids home. So
Right. Yep. What's
And,
the number? What's the number on the GoFundMe? Is it north of 8 yet?
haven't checked in a couple days.
Yeah.
Last I checked, it was 7.6.
Wow.
but that was a few days ago. So 7.6 million so far from the last I checked.
Nice.
Including
Including
8.7 million so far.
8.7.
8.7.
I think he's going to crush 10. With a goal of 2,500 to start, I think he's doing pretty good. He's
Yeah.
going to be able to change a lot of lives with that. So
He also has the number one selling jersey of any sport of any player in the world. And apparently all of those funds are also going to be going to his charity.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
Very, very cool stuff. One of the unfortunate things that happened is that the jackasses of the world have revealed themselves. People who care more about the game, care more about their fantasy team, care more about their bet than they do anything else, including the life of a man who put himself out and put himself at risk for our entertainment. King, I think, of that group, and was probably most notable, Skip Bayless, who said just some unfortunate stuff and then tried to walk it back and then tried to walk it back again. Mark, Skip said, whether it was on Twitter or on Fox, I don't remember which, but said no one at the network had a problem. And then Michael Strahan came out and said, you didn't ask me, and they work for the same network.
Right.
Yeah. And he also got just slammed by Shannon when he came back.
Yeah. Let's remember that Shannon took 2 days off to gather his thoughts before he went and met Skip. Otherwise, we would have a puddle of Skip Bayless.
I think you don't mean gather his thoughts. I think you mean he took 2 days off so he wouldn't roll into the studio and tear Skip limb from him.
Yeah, speed bag Skip right there in front of everybody.
Yeah. That fight would last all of a half of a second.
Well, I think it would last longer than that, but it would be very one-sided.
Yeah, it might take longer for him to get there than the actual fight. Like he's got to come across the table. But, Shannon's still shredded. So that's man, still in amazing
what's
shape.
the stupid movie with the Roddy Piper fight in it?
Oh, They Live.
They Live. It's They Live all one-sided.
Yeah. Well, the They Live alley fight is one of the great cinematic fights of all time. It's just two guys wailing on each other. It's Roddy Piper and Keith David just
glasses
over. Put the glasses on. I'm not going to do it. Put the glasses on. I'm not going to do it.
It is two dudes literally just beating the piss out of each other for like 7-8 minutes.
Oh, Christ, I love that movie so much. It's such a good John Carpenter at his 80s best right there.
That movie is awful.
I've got one here who can
awful
see.
in the funniest ways.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
It's awesome. And, rightfully so, Tank, the people who have really shown themselves to really not have their heads in the right places have been called out in a lot of cases.
Now, I will, for a half a second, defend Skip Bayless. What he said was not incorrect. The timing of it was awful. And the fact that he had to walk it back shows that even he understands that fundamentally that was a bad decision. But what he said is not incorrect. There is a lot of stuff involved in what happened after that game that had nothing to do with the players, but it had to do with the league. It had to do with all of their sponsorships and all of the money. And that does matter, but that was the wrong time to talk about it. So what he said was not incorrect. The timing was awful and very gross to say something at that time.
Translation, he's a jackass.
Yeah, he is a jackass. 100% he's a jackass. That was stupid.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not completely out of line or not out of his general behavior, honestly. That kind of falls right in line with a lot of what he's done and said. So that's why it was so impactful also, is because we're so used to hearing the stupid shit that he has to say, that him to say something else stupid was like, oh, fuck, really, Skip? I mean,
we're all just going to pile on the guy, absolutely, just because he says so much stupid shit to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And again, he outed himself.
Very poorly timed, stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually.
Right. Right. That's a conversation you have 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Trying
Or
to
even
figure
just
out.
even the next day, potentially.
day,
you bring it up,
I don't know.
Not when
You know,
you're
they still
when
didn't.
you still don't know if the kid is alive or not.
Correct. I think
Not
that's
while
the
he's-
important part.
Yeah, not when he's actively, stopped breathing on the field. Let's
Right.
wait till after that.
Yeah. I think there's a time and a place to talk about how to solve the issue. Certainly not then. I don't think it's the next day. I think it's after they know he's going to be okay, because it's life and death. And like I said at the beginning of this segment, this is a kid, like all of these players, who's put himself at risk every single Sunday. There's, they step onto the field knowing they could suffer some catastrophic injury. And we've seen some, right? We've seen players get paralyzed. We've seen, legs broken. We've seen just awful things happen. We've seen things happen to them after the fact, and the accumulation of contact and the damage it can do to their brains. And, only knowing he was going to be okay, I think, would then be the time to talk about, all right, how do we go forward? And honestly, I think the league did a good job.
The league did a great job. That's exactly what they did.
And it's completely unfortunate, but like you said, next day, the day following, that weekend, he has a daily show that he could have brought all of that up and had a discussion on.
Nope, but he had to jump to Twitter and say, look at me.
He had to, make an ass of himself immediately.
Hot topic guy.
Yeah.
Holding hot take.
Yeah.
And he legitimately, I think if he would have waited till the morning after.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been okay then either. I honestly think, because I don't think anybody would have known if he was going to be okay yet. Right.
Well, no,
we all know now.
Dragged as hard as he was.
He might have been.
He would have waited till the morning, to know that guy's not dead tonight.
I disagree, because he still wasn't out of the woods. He wasn't breathing on his own. He was on 100% oxygen. It was very clear that his situation was unclear. And until they knew that he was going to improve, I think is the time you have that conversation. The next morning is absolutely not the time to do it.
But there were other people already having that conversation the next day, so it would have been in line with every other reporter that was talking about it.
I don't think it made that right either. I think what the people that were talking about it the next morning were more about, this is what the league might do, or these are the options the league has. Say, this throws everything into the wind, and the money and the sponsorships. I mean,
how he said it also
right,
would have been a difference. Right. And I think how he would have said it, not to defend him too much here, but he probably, if he would have taken the time and they had their pre-show meeting, they would have said, hey, don't say it that way. Bring it up differently.
But again, him being a jackass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still
that conversation would have gone differently.
Yeah. Because Shannon would beat him up then.
Yeah. All right. That's enough. I'm not spending any more time on jackasses today.
And sadly, those were not the only things that occurred in the last week and a half to the NFL fraternity. He also had Peyton Hillis trying to save his kids from drowning. He is off a ventilator as of today, so he's doing all right.
Yeah, they're still super worried about his kidneys, though, which says to me that he ingested a lot of seawater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a report, and if you don't know, Peyton Hillis, Arkansas running back, formerly one of my favorite people on the Broncos until Joshy Poo did him dirty. Too bad that guy still can't play football.
Shipped him out to Cleveland. Yeah.
Shipped him out to Cleveland because allegedly he hit on Josh's wife before he knew he was Josh's wife, but she was Josh's whatever. Yeah. Tragic accident. His kids were drowning. He jumped in to save them. And the report was that after everybody was on the beach and whatever, and the kids were okay, he was literally coughing sand up out of his lungs. I mean, can't even imagine. And by all reports, and I don't know anybody who knows him personally. I'm just getting this from people who have been around him. It's one of the great people to have played football. Just couldn't be a nicer human being. So again,
unless you're Josh McDaniels.
Whatever.
Maybe that's what happened between him and Derek Carr.
He also pissed on Cutler and Brandon Marshall and
Oh yeah,
all kinds of other people. So
and Derek Carr.
And Derek Carr now, yes, who officially walked away from the team today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
he announced that he has been away from the team for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And is looking forward to a new team. So.
Yeah.
And the
other
other unfortunate piece of news was that Uche Nwaneri, former offensive lineman for the Jaguars, turned YouTuber for a pretty good show too. His lineman show on YouTube where he talks about different stuff actually was pretty damn good, but he unfortunately was back home with his family and passed away sometime in the middle of the night from a heart attack.
Yep.
Super sad.
Yeah.
He's only 38.
Yeah, keep that family and the NFL fraternity in our thoughts and prayers for sure. Big healing vibes to all involved.
Yeah, a lot of sad news this weekend, but week, I guess. But the fraternity's coming together, it seems like. So.
Yep. Let's move into some playoffs talk. Aaron shit the bed, and the Green Bay Packers got sent packing by the Lions.
The Lions. When's the last time the Packers were swept by the Lions?
Oh, it's had to have been.
I can't
20 years.
Remember it. Literally cannot remember it.
Hold on, guys. Hey, Duchess, do you have anything you want to say about the Packers?
Motherfucker.
Seems about right, yeah.
Yep. That's all you're going to get from me, too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're in arm's reach. I said it on Twitter as the game was happening. I said, if they win, if the Lions win this game, I don't want to hear from you, sir. Hey.
Rocky dog.
Apparently, there's another opinion.
Yeah, he hates the Packers too.
Rocky dog.
Rocky Dog does not like the Packers. I said if they end up winning that game, they're going to build a statue to Dan Quinn outside of Ford Field because guy's going to be the coach there for another 20 years.
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. Did I say Dan Quinn? Yeah, Dan Campbell.
We'll be talking about
I
Danny
was
Quinn in a
distracted
little
by my dog yelling at me.
But the only unfortunate thing, because honestly, I don't care if the Packers go to the playoffs or not, but the only unfortunate thing that happened in that situation is that Seattle won. Because it would have been beautiful if the Lions would have gone to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. It would have been a perfect ending to that season for them, but good things coming for sure. And a quick little nerd note. Did you guys see Jamal Williams' player introduction?
No. That was one of the funniest.
The Naruto headband, 7th Kagokage, leader of the night tribe.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, so good.
God.
So good.
I understand that he was not needed in Green Bay, and that's why they shipped him away, but God, it makes you feel like a dick when that happens, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a hell of a player. Other playoff news and notes. So it looks like the Chiefs and Bills are 1-2 in the AFC, and it was announced today. We knew it was going to be a neutral site if they ended up playing, but it was announced today that if the Bills and Chiefs play in the AFC Championship game, that game is going to be at Mercedes Field in Atlanta.
Why? Why did they choose?
There's got to be some TV money in there.
Yeah. Kind of. I guess you could say they have to travel about the same distance. I guess they'd offered, the Irsay clan had offered Lucas Oil, and the league turned him down because Jim Irsay's a weirdo. And like, where else? You have to put it inside, right? Yeah. You don't want to have any weather at all.
The Raiders put their stadium up too.
Yep. That's way closer to Kansas City, right? Yeah. So the travel thing would have been that. It kind of makes sense from a distance standpoint. I mean, Buffalo down the coast and Kansas City across the country, it's probably about as close to the same as you're going to get.
I guess. Whatever. Someone got paid.
I'm distracted.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Stop it. Okay.
I can't.
Well, the playoffs start this week. And there was the dog.
There's the ghost of Rocky.
There he comes again.
Ghost dog.
Ghost dog. For those of you who can't see at home, I've got my background on, and my dog is apparently starved for attention. And once, here he comes again. There he goes. Weirdo. All right, moving on to local news in the NFL. It is the Are You Coach update. Are you coach? The Broncos have got permission. Yes, are you coach? Yes, you.
Is Rocky coach?
Yes, Rocky must be coach.
Oh.
He's going to be the special teams coordinator.
Would be perfect.
An official ball dog.
There he goes again.
There he goes again. I don't know what
Phrasing.
the problem is. Right. So they've got permission to talk to Peyton because of the contractual rules. They can't talk to him officially until next week. Tank, all reports, the Broncos are interested. Peyton's interested. What do you think it would take to pry him loose out of the New Orleans contract?
Okay, so there's two different perspectives on this, and that's what would it take to get him to come here, and what would it take to allow him to come here?
I think it's what would it take to allow him to come here, because I don't think that if he's interested, the Broncos are interested, the money's not going to be an issue. It's going to be how do they get him out of the contract?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. I don't unfortunately think that unless it's a straight contract buyout, what else do we have to offer? We don't have picks. We have a
Russell
pick in the first round from a team that might win the Super Bowl.
Russell, trade him, Russ.
Trade him, Russ. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if we traded Russ away, the interest in coming here goes down a little bit, to be honest.
No, I know. I'm trying to think of other things you could trade.
Mm-hmm.
So I legitimately think it's going to be a buyout. It's going to be literally paying the Saints to release him from the contract, because we don't have any other offers. Other teams that are searching for coaches have draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't have that. We can offer a shit pile of money. That's about it.
Right. Yeah, they are the richest owners in sports in America.
by several $billion.
Yes, twice as much as number 2.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what it would take legitimately. I don't see anything else that Denver could offer up unless they want us to, for some reason, send players. But who that would be, I don't know, that we'd be willing to actually deal.
I'll give you, how about you can have the 30th pick in the draft, because you're just going to draft a coach, right? So 30th pick in the draft, Albert Okwuegbunam and Deshaun Williams there. Do you think that gets it done? No, I don't think it gets it done. No.
I mean, I don't know. Their ownership's kind of stupid, so maybe.
Yeah, they're cash strapped, so I think you might be onto something with the money piece.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I still like him. The biggest issue that I have, I don't think, is the money, because obviously the Walton Penner Group / Condoleezza Rice are
Do not forget Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is also there.
Lewis Hamilton's there, but he's not. I bring up Condoleezza Rice because she's in all of these interviews with all the coaches.
I know
she's in the box.
I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably got the most football knowledge out of Peyton, Penner, or she's got the most football knowledge out of any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's great to have her there. But anyways, I digress. I think the biggest issue is not the money, because obviously it's the richest group of people ever. They can prize something. There's always ways to fiddle about it. I think the most interesting thing is what happens with Sean Payton's defensive coordinator pick.
He comes with.
That's Vic Fangio.
I know. I don't think
we would just sign him to a new contract since his contract expires this year.
I don't think inherently
keep his ass on the payroll.
I don't think inherently that Vic Fangio would have a problem with becoming the defensive coordinator here.
I don't think so either. I'm just worried about if there's any other players in the locker room that may have not particularly been a fan of Vic, that Vic is coming back,
That we still have.
Yeah.
Every report that we heard
Court?
during the Fangio years, the defense loved him.
Yeah, the defense loved him. And the only offensive player that we still have would be Patrick or Court. And Hamler, I guess.
Offensive
technically.
linemen, too.
Well, anybody they had last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the offensive linemen,
Yeah.
basically, too.
Yep.
Which I don't think they had an issue with him.
Well, we don't know. That's the issue.
I guess
Yeah.
that's true. We don't know who.
Also, your multi-million-dollar a year kicker who is really had a kind of a bad year does have a problem with Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
I could care less what a kicker thinks. Honestly.
I care what a
I don't
kicker
care.
thinks, but
When it's Brandon McManus, it's a different story.
No, it's not. He's a kicker.
But
Nobody's
kicker
gonna,
matter
nobody's
too.
going to ask him. I guarantee you that no one's going to ask Brandon McManus what he from inside the Broncos. No one's going to ask him what he would think
I'm not
about.
saying if anybody's going to ask him, but does it cause a problem? You don't have to ask him for that to cause a problem.
He's not even going to ever see him. He's a kicker.
I'm assuming
doesn't-
he had a
he's not-
problem with Hackett forcing him to go try and attempt a 60-plus yard field goal to win a game with 40 seconds left on the clock rather than trying to, I don't know, run a fucking offensive play. So you probably had a problem with that guy too, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It's just a
Thanks for making my stats go down,
We really
Dick.
don't know what was happening inside the locker room last year before Vic got fired.
Mhm.
Is there bad blood there or not? We don't know. We'll
have no idea.
find out if he comes here. I'm just saying, that could be an issue.
So what do you think is going to happen?
I don't think it's going to be Peyton.
I don't think it's going to be Peyton either. By the way, let me reframe everything I've been saying. I don't think it's going to be Peyton.
No, I don't know if they have the wherewithal to pull it off because I think New Orleans is going to ask for picks. That's the going rate for coaches. It's
Well,
two
I,
number
also
one.
think, I don't think that Denver's on the highest pedestal as far as situations for people coming in.
No, if I had to bet on where they actually end up going, I'd wait to see which two players or two coaches are going to be fired coming out of the playoffs because I think there are two of them that are going to get fired.
McCarthy.
Mhm.
McCarthy.
That's number one. And I think also, weirdly enough, I'm legitimately concerned for McDaniel down in Miami.
That's so
No,
strange.
he's fine.
If they
I
I
think
think
he's
kind of
fired.
pissed at him for
Broncos
some
better-
reason.
I think
up and call him right away.
right.
Yeah.
I think if anybody else is in trouble, I think you're spot on with McCarthy, and I
Yeah.
think the Chargers head coach
Oh,
Staley.
yeah.
If they lose to Jacksonville, and we'll talk more about that, we get into degeneracy. But if they lose, he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
a
there-
He should be. He's an idiot.
Yeah, there is way too much
What do you
talent.
expect?
There's way too much talent on that team for them to go in the way they're going in, just limping through the Denver game, and then I can't see. And the way he handled the
Yeah.
Denver game,
Uh-oh.
no,
Uh-oh.
Jays.
That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like every other fucking Chargers team in the last 20 years.
Chargers
Wait,
got a Charger, brother.
They're going to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Their ownership is so shit, though, that I'm not
The
surprised.
Thanoses are the worst.
Yeah, they are terrible.
They legitimately are let's go with top 5 worst owners in any league.
The next time you have we get dipshit on here, which I hope she joins us sometime, Tank, you should ask her about the documentary that she watched about the. She's really into watching documentaries about sports, and it's all about like the bullshit that happens behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Oh,
So she's like, what was the football? What was the base? Oh no, it was the Seattle Mariners. She watched like 8 hours of a Seattle Mariners, like
the Dorktown?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I watched that
She's
too. It's
huge.
fucking amazing.
she's a huge Seattle Mariners fan because of all the bullshit that whole fucking organization is put
Well, I
up.
mean, the fact that their new stadium was based on the fact that someone lit their old one on fire. Yeah.
You're right.
But she's got some things to say about the Spanos boys.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
they're a
love
mess
it.
too.
They're fucking
An
No,
absolute mess.
I think that you're going to see, I think it's being McCarthy. I think McCarthy is out.
yeah.
And I
for
think
sure.
that's what
if
Peyton's
they
doing.
lose, I think he's out. I
They're
think
gonna
if he wins that first game, he's probably okay. I fully suspect they're probably going to lose because it's San Francisco.
If Jerry
it-
Jones knows that he can buy Sean Payton, though,
Oh yeah, they've got the
Yeah.
draft capital to do it,
he
right?
will do it.
Yeah. Entirely possible.
McCarthy's been
those aren't the best team. They're not even the second best team out of this group of coachless coach people jobs.
And honestly, if we're not going to promote him, I'd like to keep Evero as our defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Yeah. He was in Indianapolis today.
Yep. Let's talk about the rest of the list. Since you brought up Evero, the Broncos have solidified their list of candidates. They've talked to or will talk to Jim Harbaugh, Dan Quinn, D'Amico Ryans, Raheem Morris, Jim Caldwell, Robert Shaw, Chiro Evero, and Sean Payton.
I think one person's missing from that list.
Who?
Eric Bieniemy.
No, I don't want Eric Bieniemy.
I don't want him here.
Frank Reich.
He interviewed in Indy today. Yeah, but Frank Reich's not on any list I've seen so far.
That's the weird one to me. He's not showing up, and I'm wondering if he's just not wanting to come back, or if they're pinning all of the catastrophe that happened in Indy over the last couple of years on him. Because I wouldn't.
Well, you don't know what Jim Irsay is saying.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Right. All right. So let's say this. It seems like the prevailing favorites right now are either Harbaugh or Payton. Let's take those two guys and flush it real quick. If you can't get either one of those two guys, of the group that's left, who's your number one, Mark?
Of that group that's left, I mean, I'm a big fan of Shaw, but I was a big fan of Shaw like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not sure about now. Caldwell would be a good choice because he knows a lot of people and he'd be able to build a hell of a staff. And he's a good guy, so that would be a really solid choice. It's not really the flashiest choice, but he knows how to run an organization and he knows a lot of people and he's considered a really good dude. I really like D'Amico Ryans, but I just don't think we can do another first-time head coach. We just can't do it. We've done 3 in a row now. You can't bring in another first-time head coach. You can interview them all you want, and I love, D'Amico Ryans, but that would be my issue there. And Raheem Morris is not a bad pick. He had a really terrible Tampa Bay team, and the biggest thing he had was some, other than mismanaging of the draft capital and that kind of thing, was just some inside the locker room bullshit between offensive linemen. So I don't know. Of that group, I think Jim Caldwell's probably my favorite to win the job, even though I think Vegas currently has it on Dan Quinn.
Tank, what say you?
Okay, so I actually do really like the Caldwell pick too. That would be a short time thing. He wouldn't be sticking around for 10 years. He would be a transitional coach for us to get someone in the OC and DC positions to be the man in waiting, essentially. That's what Caldwell would be. He would be bringing in people that he can train up to take over when he's gone in 3 years, I think. So that's not a bad idea, as long as you make sure that the people that you're bringing in are going to do their jobs and they're going to be willing to learn and they're going to be able to take over when he's gone. I think the one that's most likely is going to be Quinn. He already has the pedigree.
Good idea.
He already has the pedigree. He already has some of the, awards and all of that kind of stuff. So giving him another chance to take over a team that is ready, as long as the coaching is there and they get 1 or 2 pieces on the fucking offense that aren't going to fall apart. I think it's going to be Quinn.
I hate that idea so much.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
And I love Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator, and it might be unfair. However, as a defensive head coach, 28-3 sticks out so badly.
Yeah.
But is that all on him?
He's the defensive coach. That was
his. You got to keep in mind, yes, they gave up a lot of points, but they also didn't score.
Though I get that as well, and we can give Kyle Shanahan a pass because he's kicking ass with Mr. Irrelevant. So I don't know necessarily how much of
He's
that
also
was
lost
Shanahan's
another
coaching.
Super Bowl since then. Dan Quinn hasn't.
Right.
So
Yeah, but 28-3.
Oh, no,
that's an epic meltdown.
I understand the grievance.
With-
I
yeah,
100% get
legitimately
that.
a top 10 quarterback. I said it the last time we got together. I think Caldwell is a brilliant pick. The guy's a quarterback whisperer. You think he might have learned a thing or two about coaching quarterbacks when he was the quarterbacks coach in Indianapolis a long time ago and working with one PFM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. He knows people.
Yeah, he knows people, right?
He can bring in a good staff.
Right.
And that whole, Peyton Manning being a football GM thing.
Well, and the thing, Caldwell's smart enough that he probably wouldn't be tied to anybody. He'd probably come in and be willing to look at the staff and like, hey, we could probably keep Evero if he wants to stay around. He's a good defensive mind. He's young enough. He can learn. And he's already good at what he's doing. And then they could potentially say something like, hey, we have a couple of the Kubiaks also on staff that seem to know what they're doing with an offense for the most part,
I hit the wrong button.
And then,
Yes,
honestly, probably a guy that wants to keep – would probably be a good idea to keep him because he probably would be willing to keep Rosberg in too.
I think Rosberg's going to retire.
I don't think so.
I think you can tell just by the way he ran and held himself the last 3 weeks of the season and the things he was saying. He was enjoying every bit of saying whatever he wanted because he knew it didn't matter. The only reason why he took the job because it was so short term. I coach the coach. He didn't have to do it. He worked 30 hours a week maybe. I think Rosberg's shutting it down.
I think he was – I loved him so much for – well, two reasons. One of them is that when he took over as coach, he fired the two people that he felt were accountable for how shitty the offense was. He immediately fired them. You guys both leave. We don't need you. Which apparently was not incorrect because the offense did look better after that. And I think he let the offense kind of just do their thing, which is what's been needed, I think, the whole year is to just let the offense kind of do what they look. They finally moved Judy to the X. Finally moved him to the X. And what did he do? Back-to-back just destruction performances against the secondary. That kind of like I understand you're probably right. He's not going to stick around, but God, wouldn't it be good to have someone with that kind of mentality of let your players do their fucking jobs?
Well, that was Outen. Outen was the guy that designed all of that, so maybe they get a chance to keep it. And who knows? I mean, maybe he's got a relationship with somebody else.
Well, and maybe he was just him letting the coaches do their jobs too, not trying to dictate anything. Like, hey, I have an offensive coordinator, I have a defensive coordinator. Do what you need to do. I don't know.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. Definitely not going to find out anything for at least another week until they talk to Peyton after the 17th.
Yeah, at the very least, yeah.
Yep. On one final note, and on the coaching carousel note, dude, the Texans did Lovie Smith so dirty. That is just.
Okay. Do you think he won that game on purpose?
I think he won the game because he was trying to win the game.
But do you think that's why he got fired?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that he won that game and lost them the number one pick?
And it doesn't matter because if you tell me the Bears are going to draft a quarterback, I'm going to tell you you're insane.
Oh, they're not drafting a quarterback. They're going to sell that spot to whoever wants to pay for it.
There's still a couple of good quarterbacks out there. There's more than one. All you need is one.
They're 100% selling that spot to the highest bidder, which might be the Texans.
Swap up just so they can get it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But they just treated. I mean, I have a ton of respect for Lovie Smith. The man's done amazing things in the NFL. He's a fantastic coach, well respected. Great beard game. Holy cow!
Oh my God, that's what I was just going to say. His beard,
an amazing beard. Yes.
I'm a big fan of white-looking beards most of the time, but like yours is great now that it's all white instead of some. And Lovey's is just unfucking believable.
That's outstanding. Yeah, outstanding.
Do you think he pursues another job, or he just kind of lets it go now?
Well, he doesn't have to, right? Right. He might take a year off, just, the sour taste in his mouth after what happened in Houston. Who knows?
Dealing with Houston's got to just suck, though.
Yeah, and when the owner McNair comes out and says, "We're going to have, and I'm going to work closely with Caserio," I'm like, "Oh God, there's your problem."
Right.
That guy's the biggest moron in football.
Mm.
Urban Meyer.
No. What's his
Urban?
face?
Well, Urban Meyer's not in football.
GM from the Jags. GM from the Jags. Oh, that dipshit. The one that basically made it so Byron Leftwich refused to even interview for the job with the Jaguars. Oh, God, what's his name? They have an idiot over there as GM, and I can't remember.
Just look at what Casero's done the last 4 years. I mean, he's just been a nightmare for that team.
Brutal.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. Now, might change if they get Derek Carr, which would, I think, be freaking hilarious. Derek Carr goes to the Texans and finishes what his brother started. And that might draw in a good coach, too, but who knows?
Trent Baalke.
We're spitballing.
Oh, yeah.
You ask any Jaguar fans, they hate Baalke.
That's what I'm saying. I think he might be the biggest idiot in football.
Boy, that's a tough one. Casero's,
Casero, and he's creepy. Like have you looked him in the eyes?
Yes.
It's fucking creepy.
I have never looked him in the eyes, Tank.
Not something that's on
the bucket list.
When he's doing like any type of interviews or anything, he has got a serial killer look to him that is scary. Legitimately.
I go to Houston every now and again, so next time I go, I'll look him up for you and we'll take a selfie.
That's fantastic.
Cast of you just like.
No, he has got one of the creepiest.
Hey, Nick, ever. Can I get a picture? So good. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. I'm sick of talking about it. Let's talk about fun stuff. Let's talk about the NBA and the Nuggets still in first place halfway through the season, tied with the Memphis Grizzlies, who magically, guys, have managed to stay healthy. Both of these teams within a game and a half of the number one record in the NBA. Mark, starting with you. Dude, Denver's just on fire.
Yeah, I hope they can just stay healthy, and they're if they can maintain a healthy roster with their depth and what they are capable of when they fully become healthy. Jamal finally gets his legs fully underneath him and that kind of thing. If they can stay healthy with their depth, they're going to run the table this year. I mean, look at the teams with the big three right now, or the big whatevers. Like Brooklyn is kind of been pathetic. The Lakers are awful, like fucking legendarily bad. Mm-hmm. The Clippers, like look what the Nuggets did to the fucking clip show a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's just legendarily and those are the teams that actually have like big players on them. You look at what they're doing here in Denver. We do have a big player. Yes, he's the back-to-back MVP and working on his third straight MVP right now. I think he's in the driver's seat for that, but they're going to try to steal it from him because of the fucking East Coast bias. I legitimately think this team, as long as they can stay healthy, is built for the long run. Memphis is a great team too, but if one of their people gets hurt, they are not near as deep as the Nuggets are. They just don't have that depth behind there. They're going to be good for a long time because of their youth. They are just not that great in a 7-game series right now, because they're like 7 deep as opposed to the Nuggets, who are 10 deep, 8 deep, 9 deep. They have like
10, 8, 9.
They have a really good team that's still building, it looks like.
Yeah.
But
there were the Nuggets 2 years ago.
You give them the right playoff lineup, there's potential there.
Right.
Because, I mean, Ja is basically proving himself to be one of the more dominant players in the league. You know,
Oh, Jaw is easily a top
Yeah,
5 player right now.
unbelievable.
and then
He
Jackson.
he ended a guy's life the other day too. I don't know if you guys saw that dunk.
I did see.
He's done that a
Good
few times though this
God,
year.
that recent one was well.
Yeah.
It wasn't Aaron Gordon good, but it was pretty
It was
good.
pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's done that a few times. Like he's legit.
But it
And
seems like
them having
this
Jackson.
year for a lot of the teams that were kind of middle ground the last couple of years that had kind of a late push. All those teams that were doing that, or the teams that were building by spending a shitload of money on free agents, they're all super down and they're all hurt and nobody can stay healthy, and that's going to hurt them down the line. And if the Nuggets can just keep healthy, keep fucking Joker from, being 48 minutes a night, let's keep him around. What is he averaging? 40 this year? Last year he was averaging 45.
I think he's less this year.
Yeah, he's less.
It's way less this year. It's like 10 minutes less this year than
30. He's at 33 right now. 33 and a third minute.
Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely
Beautiful.
That's perfect. And you're still in first place. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And hit a triple-double and 100% shooting the other night.
The nice part is when they pull the starters off the floor now, that backup team has enough playing time together that they are actually a cohesive unit now. Whereas last year you could see every time that they pulled them off in the late in the second and late in the third, the starters had to come in the fourth and save the game almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
But this year has not been as bad because that team is completely gelled.
And I think that's a great point, Mark. And a lot of that is really being seen in the defensive efficiency numbers. The beginning of the year up until about, 2-3 weeks ago, they were in the bottom 3 or 4 consistently in the league in defensive efficiency, and then would turn it on in the fourth quarter. The last, 12 games, they're top 5 in defensive efficiency.
KCP, dude.
Yeah.
And Michael Porter Jr. is actually.
Oh, yeah. He's becoming magic on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm. All you got to do is move his feet a little bit. Mm-hmm. Well, and maybe he did not have the ability to show that effort, right? There's the back. The back is a tricky thing. And absolutely. Mark, you brought up, health. We hit a pretty good milestone with Jamal the other night. He played his first back-to-back in over 600 days. I think Jamal's all the way back, guys. Yeah. And you can just tell there's just a spring to his step. I watched most of the Phoenix game the other night, and I watched what was it, the Clippers the night before, or the 2 nights before that. There's something special to Jamal Murray right now that we haven't seen since he's come back from the injury. We are seeing Jamal be Jamal finally.
Real quick, going back to the Clippers abomination that they had. So that they were on a back-to-back too, the Clippers were. Mm-hmm. And their 2 big players are the dude from now I can't remember their names. They're 2 big stars right now.
I'll give you one. Kawhi,
and then Paul George. And both of those guys had less than 10 minutes on the court against the Nuggets and sat out the second game.
Well, I mean, okay, Paul George. I know he's not that old, but he plays old.
He played 10 minutes.
I know.
Yeah, that's not load management. That's, oh shit, this ain't our night. Go have a seat. Yeah. We're getting crushed.
Yeah.
Bones is going nuts. Have a seat.
And let's be 100% honest on Kawhi. Since he got to the Clippers,
he hasn't been healthy.
He has not been healthy.
Yeah, since the injury, Kawhi is different.
Yeah, he has fallen off massively from where he was with the Spurs and Raptors.
Well, I mean, yeah, when he was with the Raptors, that was him for sure. That team is direly missing Patrick Beverley.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Direly missing Patrick.
And I think the Lakers would like to give him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. He's not really efficient there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're on a 14-3 stretch. 5 wins over 500 or better teams in their last 17 games. They're playing really well. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this and put this out into the universe. Mark, you said healthy could run the table. could this be the year? The typical obstacles that Denver has had to deal with over the years, Los Angeles, they're not going to be squat. They're terrible. That team is bad. LeBron, when LeBron plays, he's really the Lakers. When LeBron plays, he plays well, but he's not healthy. AD is never healthy. Will never be healthy.
Never again. It doesn't seem like.
I've said it before. That man spends more time on the floor than he does on his feet. Falls down all the time. Golden State is struggling, and I think Denver has always matched up well with Golden State. Rudy Gobert in Utah, Rudy's gone, even though Joker would consistently eat his lunch. But Utah's dismantled themselves. The typical and historical obstacles to a Denver run to the finals.
The only one you didn't
not there.
San Antonio. San Antonio's always played the Nuggets really well.
San Antonio plays the Nuggets really well. You're right. They have lost a series or two to them, but the Spurs are 13-29. They're not making
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Spurs aren't there either.
One of the only teams worse than the Lakers is the Spurs in the Western Conference.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna ask you, is this the year?
I think we have two legitimate obstacles. I think Memphis is building up, but I think we'll be able to outrun Memphis. The other big one is that for some reason, because you guys didn't mention one other team, we have a weird thing with Dallas also.
No, yeah.
With the Mavs.
What does Michaela call Luka?
Yeah, and he's not amazing on defense, obviously. But is there anyone on this planet that can guard that guy?
No,
but he's one guy, and they don't really have a big three.
They're in fifth right now.
They are.
And it only takes him going Super Saiyan for a week to take anybody out. Because look what he did last year by himself.
Right.
And the other one is it's Golden State, because they do have one of the best starting fives in the league. They don't have any depth, but they have one of the best starting fives in the league.
No, and they're not healthy. I think they're going to. I think that team is the old, that prototypical old team trying to scrap it together for one more run. We're seeing Steph breakdown. Clay is never going to be the same. I mean, you don't just come back from those two catastrophic injuries like that. He clearly is not the same person. Draymond he's evolved or devolved into really goonery and yelling. Still a good rebounder, still a good defender, but he doesn't do much on the offensive side for you. I don't fear Golden State this year. I don't. And that's not something we've been able to say for 10 years.
I don't fear them, but they have that ability to run the table with their starting five. If they are healthy at the same time, they just pile on so many points.
I mean, Wiggins is nobody to sneeze at now that he's there.
Yeah.
And neither is Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole is looking even better this year somehow.
Yeah. The problem is their bench is run by, Jermichael Green and Andre Iguodala, who's 135 years old.
Is Iggy still there?
No, Iggy's not even there anymore.
No.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Still on the roster.
But he plays like 2 minutes a game or something.
Yeah, he doesn't play much, but he's there.
Yeah.
Andre Iguodala can go to hell. I hate that guy. Still haven't forgiven him for that nonsense 8 years ago.
And I still think, even though we buried them in points, I think that was last night, actually, Phoenix, but they didn't have Booker playing.
They didn't have anybody playing. I mean,
exactly.
The 5 of their top 8 were out. So, I mean, Phoenix is always going to be good. I don't think New Orleans can stay healthy the entire time.
Stupid Chicago. But you could be right.
This could be it. It's the best chance they've had in a long time.
I got
the best chance they had since when they had Phillips and AI and all them.
They honestly had a pretty legitimate shot in the COVID shortened year as well.
Yep,
because
they did have a chance.
Playing out of his mind.
Yep. That's true.
Bubble Jamal.
But since since the
Mellow AI, Billups, Kmart,
Kmart,
yeah,
Birdman.
Birdman.
they got
Yeah.
beat by the Lakers in the Western Conference Championships.
Yep, Western Conference Finals. Yep.
Stupid fucking Lakers.
Well, and they won the championship. So
Yeah.
Right.
Once again, stupid fucking Lakers.
Stupid fucking Lakers. We've already said the name of that team way too many times on the show.
I know. I said I was never going to talk about them.
I
but they're
know,
so
and
bad.
you
It's so much
started it.
But they're so much fun to talk about now because they're terrible.
Right. Okay. So we're going to be done with that. I'm
Yeah.
just going to call it over. All right. Moving on to the NHL, the Avs currently in 5th place in the division. I don't know what the score is right now. Last heard it was 2-2.
They just lost 3-2.
They just lost 3-2. Frankie was
Just
in net.
popped up.
Yep.
Yeah. Stupid Chicago.
The story of the season, stupid. That's why you said stupid Chicago. The story of the year so far has just been, and it's been the theme of the show so far. It's been, can they stay healthy? And the answer is unequivocally no. You know, they're still missing Byram, Landy, Manson. Frankie came back finally. Nichushkin and Malgin all out. But the good news is we're starting to see some of those guys skate, and Nathan McKinnon is back on the ice.
Thank God, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Can they stay healthy? That's their biggest problem. They have the team to just be destroyers. And the fact that they're in 5th place running with half a lineup for most of the year is surprising, to be honest. But if they can get some pieces back and at some point get all their captains healthy, that'd be fantastic.
So Gabe had a setback, and so now he's on the shelf for an undisclosed period of time. Right. I think without Gabe on the ice, your chances of winning the Stanley Cup without making any significant moves, as Sakic has been known to do, it decreases drastically. You know, it goes from, whatever the odds would be, 33% to winning the league to probably 5 without your captain, because he is the heart and soul of that team. He may not be the log scorer, but he's the one that drives the beat that team goes by and toughens them up when they should be. And without him on the ice, they're just a completely different team. It seems like this year is different because the goalie that's there is not getting as much goal support. And I mean that because, if you watch the games last year, and especially in the playoffs, they really did a lot to help out and throw themselves in front of and it was all year. It wasn't just in the playoffs. Just make sure that they were taking as much pressure off the goaltending issue as they possibly could. And then if they got down, they would rally back and get a lead. And without your stars, especially Gabe, running the ship, it's hard to get that lead back. And I feel like they're just kind of like with Georgiev, just all right, okay, well, he gave up 5 goals. I guess we're over for the night. Where that wasn't the case last year. There were a lot of times that they were down 3 goals and would come back. And so I just feel like
on Tuesday.
I just feel like this team doesn't have the heart it did last year. And in order to get that back, you got to get Gabe back. And Joe's got to make at least one more move.
Well, and we're also missing, as weird as it sounds at this point saying it, we are missing Kadri, I think.
Oh, 100%. That's why we need to make a move. You've got to bring somebody in.
Yeah, they have to solve that second line center.
And Gerard is living in negative points right now. Newhook's living in negative points right now.
There's
Comfort's in negative points right now.
If I'm Joe Sakic, I am on the phone right now giving up any of those young guys to get Kaner and Taves over here.
Oof. That's a big ask. But who?
But even if, whichever one's healthy, bring one of those vets in, and you've got to have something there because with these Colorado Eagles guys, there's just nothing there. They don't have that oof, and Mac is good at that, but he just lives on the edge. He's just so high strung all the time that there's no change of pace. Whereas Gabe was kind of a change of pace guy where if they were too fired up, you'd calm them down. If they weren't fired up enough, you'd go out and beat the fuck out of somebody and score a goal, without that, they don't seem like they are fired. There's no fire.
See, what I'm hearing you saying is that we need to put McDermott on the ice more.
I mean, he's playing a ton anyway.
Did he score a goal the other night?
Oh, no, he had a couple of assists. He had 2 assists in a game.
Yeah.
2 assists in one game. I mean, come on.
That's great, baby.
We went to a game a couple of weeks ago, and McDermott was on the ice for like 5 minutes, and I was just watching him the whole time, going, "Punch somebody! Come on, go ahead, punch somebody! Come on, start a fight! Start a fight! Who are you gonna get? Who are you gonna get?"
You're dinged up if McDermott's not just your goon guy. Like,
Yeah.
if he's actually getting significant ice time just to skate around, there's something wrong with your roster.
Yeah. If he's there just filling a fourth line winger spot, there's no problem.
Well, I
love McDermott, man. I love Dermy. He's great.
But what is it's the new guys? What's going on with them this year? Is it just because they don't have the leadership there?
I mean,
that's a lot of it.
Yeah,
Gerard is looking messy.
I've had an issue with Sam Girard for a long time. I think Sam Girard should probably be a third line forward. He makes too much money because he plays defense and he's got a good offensive punch, but he's too small. And I've always thought he's been too small. I think. Mark, you touched on Landy. I think not having Manson for as long as they haven't had him, that's an issue on the defensive end.
That was one of the trades they made last year.
Yep. Not having him hurts. You brought up Kadri. I think that the scoring punch and kind of that fire and brimstone bit.
I think it's the fire. Important. That's the problem.
Yeah, but he also can score. He was a legitimate second line and is a
though.
legitimate second-time center. They're not scoring enough. And they're not getting any secondary scoring. So you can get goals from McKinnon, Makar, and Lehkonen. And you might get 1 or 2 from that group over the course of a game. But you need to have your third and fourth line and some of your secondary defensemen at least chip in offensively. Maybe not necessarily score, but be in the play. And they're not getting that.
And that's why I specifically mentioned Girard, actually, is because he has just been nothing on offense.
Yeah, Newhook is lost. Martin Kaut's been up and down. I don't know what's going on with Malgin. I think he's a good player, but again, he's hurt, so who really knows?
What about that kid from Pittsburgh?
Evan Rodriguez is actually playing pretty well.
Okay,
yeah. Evan Rodriguez is
playing
well. Yeah. It's not the same team. Clearly, they don't have the same pieces. Not everybody's as healthy. Makar and McKinnon are capable of taking a shift and putting in on their back, but that's a shift. That's 60 to 90 seconds, and then they have to come off. And now we're throwing Martin Kaut out there and Ian McDermott out there, and it's just not working offensively.
Newhook not being able to run his line properly.
Right. I think Newey's at least 2 years. The kid's got no conscience when it comes to shooting. Oh yeah, and that man will shoot the puck from any angle, and I'm here for it. I'm all about it. He's probably another 2 years out from being able to play that 2C position. I guess they're still among the league leaders in goals against. New Jersey's at 109, but everybody else, there's a big group in the teens, and Colorado's in that group. They just can't score, right? They've only scored 116 goals, and everybody else is in the 130s, 140s. It's all offense. They've got to score the puck.
Then I say the legitimate question here, who is the one guy that we could potentially chase after to bring him in and fill in that space that Kadri filled in, that Gabe filled in? Who's the one guy that they could potentially get right now? Legitimately, who?
Taves. He's on the trading block right now.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd be that impactful?
Yes.
The guy's a stud.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not a stud.
100% a locker room presence, and they've won many championships. So
of the group of people that have been discussed as potential trade bait right now, he is the best of them, and it's not even close.
Yeah. And he's old.
And I include Patrick Kane in that list. Like, Patrick Kane's also really good. But Patrick Kane being hurt, I think.
I was say, didn't he just get injured?
Yeah, he just got hurt. So that's an issue.
Yeah.
This is like some of the best hockey talk we've ever had, guys.
So who do you think we should put?
Michaela's not here.
Who would you offer up?
I I think Nui is on the block.
Yeah.
Sammy G. There's always teams looking for defensemen, even if they're undersized. So I think Sammy G is always probably in the conversation.
See, I'd like to keep Newhook. Just let him develop a little more.
I mean, forwards are everywhere, man. It's the
God, but he has so much raw fucking potential.
Yeah, but you're trying to go back to back.
But it's raw. Yeah, right. We're not talking about 2 years from now. We're talking about repeating.
Yeah. Well, that okay, but I'd like to repeat for 4 years. I'd like to do what the Lightning did.
Yep.
But you still have to do it this year. And they're just not healthy enough with the roster they have.
I think
Ryan O'Reilly is another good candidate.
Yeah.
He's on the block.
Yeah. Big bruiser.
I mean, he's
Sampo
with these guys.
Yeah, I know. That'd be fun. I think Sampo Ranta in the system is a good one. He's a guy, the goalies can't seem to stay healthy, but Justus Annan is a young, he'll throw at somebody. Logan O'Connor, he's 26. There's pieces. There's pieces that they can move around.
Do you think they could chase any of the bigger ones right now?
It's Joe Sakic.
Squeeze someone out.
It's Joe Sakic.
The guy gets.
They still call him Super Joe. It has nothing to do with him playing.
Yeah, the running joke in the NHL now is when you see Joe Sakic is on the phone, don't answer it.
Yeah, don't answer it because he's going to fleece you.
Well, I'm thinking someone
absolutely steal everything.
I'm thinking maybe someone like Larson out of Seattle. Defensive presence.
I don't know if Seattle's going to make any moves. They're playing really well.
I'm not saying that's why I'm bringing it up. Obviously, if you're going for one of the better players, one of the higher end players, you're probably going to be looking for a team that doesn't need to move anybody. So that's what I'm saying. Is there any of those people that we could potentially squeeze out and bring in?
Let's see who's on the block. NHL trading block. Okay, Google.
This is great radio.
I know. This is awesome.
Right here.
Right.
Okay. Google.
Yeah. Okay, Google. Kapanen with the Pens. Timo Meyer at Turks, maybe. There's Patty Kane. Tyler Myers of the Canucks is not a bad choice.
That's a good one, Myers.
It's a $6 million hit. They'd have to definitely figure out so many bits there. Montreal, Sean Monahan is a good one.
What about Fox from the Rangers?
Carlson.
Because the Rangers are probably looking to make it
not necessarily available. Yeah, not necessarily available. Or Bo Horvat. I don't think he's super expensive. He's only $5.5 million, and he's a captain.
How about Marchand?
Because the money is huge. Oof.
How about Marchand?
Mark?
You're not going to be able to get Marchand away from Boston. They're playing too well. I mean, I would love to see Brad Marchand in a Avalanche uniform because I just like that guy is great. If if he's on your team, which is why I've loved him for so long. Been a Bruin forever. Love Brad Marchand, right. But Boston getting rid of him.
What are the Stars looking like this year?
I have no idea. Is Mike Modano still the captain?
Yeah, and Ken Hitchcock's still the coach. Big old fat Ken.
Who was the fucking goalie for them forever?
Oh God, don't get me started. Dallas Stars number one. Dallas Stars number one in the Central. They got 57 points.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh God, those uniforms are idiots.
Hello, Squirrel.
Oh, hold on.
I'm trying to think of anybody else. I understand what you're saying. We got to chase somebody though. Like you said, we got to fill in some space there.
Mhm.
to, be efficient on defense and
Right.
someone who can score a goal every once in a while.
All right, well, we can kick that more around in a couple of weeks. Next, let's move into degeneracy. And in honor of Muti, who is recovering more and more every day, we love you, Muti. We are going to bet. Mark, you're the only one that hit his bet. Good job.
Yeah, you hit last week.
Yep. Well
Holy
done.
crap. I just saw the picture of Nick Casario.
Told you. He's got psycho eyes.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
he's
just
kind of-
adding
he's
the
kind of a-
picture of the uniforms I saw for the Dallas Stars.
Oh, that's aggressive.
Those are terrible.
That
Who
is
designed
aggressive.
those? The public relations staff at Oregon University? Those are awful.
Yeah.
Eddie Belfour.
It reminds me of those,
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie Belfour and Marty Turco.
Turco. Yeah. It reminds me of the neon green Seattle jerseys.
Yeah.
Dude, they're so awful. It's like somebody just took fucking highlighters to a black jersey.
That's terrible.
Anyway, so yeah, I was the only one who hit a bet last time.
So
right?
you're going to start.
All right, I got a few. You ready for this? In
Yes.
good old Milty fashion, we're gonna do some stuff here. I've actually taken some notes. Be impressed. See, here are my notes. I've got them all saved right there.
Just read them.
So, first game I'm looking at right now is your Seattle Seahawks against the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, that spread is at 9.5 points.
Yeah.
And the over-under is at 42.
Which is wild, right? I mean,
yeah.
Are they just calling shutout here? Is that basically what they're saying?
Exactly. So give me the Seahawks with that points and give me the over on that game. We are hammering overs today, everybody. We are hammering overs.
Really? You're going to take the over in Seattle?
42 points? Yeah, absolutely. Both of those teams can score 3 touchdowns each. Anyway, so we're going on to the next one, and that's the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Bills currently favored on MGM.com by 13 points, and the over-under is sitting at 43.5 points. We are taking the Bills with the points on this one because the quarterback that they have for Miami, I've never even fucking heard of.
Well, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Teddy Two Gloves or is it going to be Skylar Thompson?
Yes,
it's
Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, it's Skylar.
So Skylar Thompson is starting. So give me the Bills plus 13, and I am hammering this over too at 43.5. We are hammering overs, everybody.
Do you think they beat them by 3 or 4?
You got the Bills minus 13, right?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills. Yeah, minus 13.
Yeah,
sorry.
Minus 13 and the over.
That'd be wild if it was plus 13. I'm like, did Josh Allen die today or what happened?
And then the last game I've got, guys, is Baltimore at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is currently favored on MGM Bet whatever app that they don't sponsor us yet, and they could if they want to. They're currently favored at home, the Bengals, by 9.5 points. The over-under on this game is sitting at a lowly 40.5 points right now.
And I think that's completely based on the idea that Baltimore won't score.
I am hammering the over at that one. And I'm also taking the Bengals minus 9.5.
Well, yeah, because don't they have Anthony Brown starting? Like they don't even have Huntley coming back, right?
Right, but the Bengals can put up 35 by themselves.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I'm guessing the spreads that or the over unders that low just based on the idea that they don't think Baltimore's actually going to hit an end zone.
So those are my bets.
All right. I actually wrote these down, so now we remember. We won't have to actually go back. It's like, what did you say? Wait, who did I have?
I think somebody bet on this one, didn't they?
Yeah. Did I bet this one? I think I did. All right, Tank, what do you got?
I think weirdly enough, I think San Francisco covers that 9.5, but
I'll write it down if you want.
No, I'm not going to take that one. I'm taking the upset right off the bat. I think it's going to be the Jaguars. It's at plus 2.5.
I almost took that one.
And I think the Jaguars are going to not only cover that 2.5, but I'd say outright win. I take money line on the Jags.
I completely agree with you. I almost took that one too.
Yeah, Jags are plus 118 I'm on FanDuel, but Jacksonville's 118 plus 118. I'd take that money line. That's not bad, And the other one I'm going Giants plus 3. with how hit or miss that Vikings team has been.
Agreed.
And the Giants are just scrappy enough to probably just run the ball down their throat all day. You know, Cousins, he has definitely shown that he cannot handle the limelight at all, and I think that's what's gonna happen again. They're just gonna get shut down by the Giants.
I've been saying that for 2.5 years.
Oh, I know.
We are aware.
This is terrible if he's not in the 1 o'clock Eastern time slot.
The one that I fucking hate saying right now, Dallas is favored by 2.5 in Tampa on Monday. Is there any chance that the Buccaneers don't win this game just to piss everybody off?
Yeah, there is, because Tom Brady's old as fuck and he'll probably break in the first quarter or something.
Tell that to Tom.
Hit or miss.
Tell that to Tom from 2 weeks ago, who put up 400 yards and they.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like they're so hit or miss this year.
So was Dallas though on some of those games. Dak had played 5 less games than any other full-time starter and still tied for lead league in interceptions.
Jesus.
That's aggressive, dude. Like, how can you be missing that bad? It's not like he doesn't have weapons on that offense.
And they gave him the bag.
Yeah, and he got a huge bag. I understand that McCarthy's a moron, but he doesn't throw the ball for Dak. So what happened to Dak's decision making?
He's
But
busy sleeping on water beds.
I'm thinking Buccaneers get this.
All right, Tampa plus 2.5.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm with you on those, actually.
Yeah.
The last one's a little bit of a we hope bet, I think, more than an actual bet.
Yeah, it's more of a I think it's going to happen thing.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what about you?
I also am going to take the Jags. I don't think there's any way they lose this game. It's a home playoff game. That atmosphere last week was absolutely electric. The Jags have got something going on. The Chargers are just going to charger, and the next Monday will be the end of Mr. Staley. So
yeah, that'll be the death knell for Mr. Staley.
Yeah, yeah,
Then they can bring
absolutely.
a Schottenheimer in.
Oh, jeez. Brian?
Yeah.
I don't know. They love him.
Mm-hmm. I also was leaning towards Tampa. It's also a home game in Tampa. They're getting 2.5 points at home. However, I'm also pairing that with the under. It's the under. The line's 45.5 points. I think it's going to go under that. We've seen Tom Brady, like Mark said, he's been hit or miss. They've had games where they've scored 8 points, games where they've scored 28 points. Playoffs ratchets everything up a notch. I see this as a 20-17 game, something like that. So give me Tampa and the under. I'm going to hammer the under.
No, you don't hammer the under. You just
I can hammer whatever I want. I'm hammering the under.
The under.
You caress the under.
Phrasing.
Massage the under.
I didn't say fondle. I said caress.
Right.
Well, I'm fondling the under.
Yeah.
He's fondling the under.
Right. The one thing that I will
Everybody's
say,
hand check.
hands are up. Hands are up. We're good.
Caressing the
I'm
under.
Getting the unders on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm going to tell everyone and their mother to stay the hell away from the Giants game. I don't think anyone knows what's going to happen there. It's Danny Dimes and Kirk Cousins. No, that game that might as well be a pick 'em. Who cares?
See, that's the thing.
No.
I think it is a pick 'em, but I think the Vikings are they are -5 point differential. How could you have a -5 point differential and that record?
Right?
Yeah.
That does not make
Well,
sense.
it doesn't
It's
make
a
sense.
bunch of one possession games and getting blown out once. That's what happened.
Yeah, the
They
only
got blown out.
reason
No, that's the problem. They win all the one possession games and then get completely blown out.
the only reason that line is at -3 for Minnesota is because it hasn't moved since they posted it. They basically Vegas thinks it's a pick 'em too.
It is. Yeah, that's what it legitimately is
Right.
a pick 'em.
And the Giants
nobody
fans haven't started climbing all over that number yet either.
You know,
No.
I was surprised by that because I thought for sure it would move a lot in the first part of the week.
Mhm.
and it didn't. It stayed.
It
the
hasn't
same.
moved at all. Yep.
I think
It
you're going to
hasn't moved
see
at
it shift. I think you're going to see it shift Saturday. I think.
You think
We'll
the
see.
Joes are going to come out on Saturday and move the money?
I think the Giants are going to move the money and push that to probably honestly a +1. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
That's
that's
a big swing
that's
on
a
the
huge
day.
move, even for a week, let alone one
I,
day.
I legitimately wouldn't be surprised. Everyone knows that the Vikings are fraudulent.
I'm
And
just
It's the
surprised that-
Giants, bro. It's the
Yeah.
Giants.
who
That
have
was,
won.
that was what I won on last week.
But if you look at their roster, they should not have made the playoffs at all. Their roster is dumpster. But
For the Giants?
somehow,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
somehow,
Talent-wise, the Minnesota Vikings are a much better football team, but we don't trust the quarterback.
okay, let's
I don't
remember
trust
the
either.
last. Let's remember
I
the
don't
last
trust
two
either
Giants
quarterback.
championship teams.
Yeah, Eli Manning.
Okay, who did great in exactly 2 postseasons
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
one
all it
Super
takes.
and
Yep,
won
1,
Super
2,
Bowls in
yep,
both of
got
them
2 rings.
on the back of a really good defense.
possibly the greatest throw and catch of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Who says that doesn't happen again? That's what I'm saying. With Danny Dimes.
I'm with you on it. I just,
Yeah.
the Vegas
Yeah.
is obviously calling it a pick 'em too, and I'm surprised there's not much money moving the line on that one.
Yep. That's
I
odd.
think there will be. I think that one gets a lot of late heat.
That was the thing that was so weird about the one last week is the line moved big time right away.
Yeah. There was some sharp money coming in on that for sure. Someone was dropping some cash. Some absolute cash.
I think
That's
it was Eagles, but that's why I won the bet because
I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Jacksonville line moves a little too.
yeah, I could see that one happening.
Because everyone knows that the Chargers are frauds. So
yeah. That'll be the sharps coming in too. They'll just
Yeah,
wait to see how it
That'll
settles
be
out.
hammered
Yeah.
at day of.
Yeah. The couriers will be going crazy that day.
mm,
All right, that's enough degeneracy for one day. Speaking of degeneracy and kind of our dipshit of the week, news in the sports entertainment world. Vince McMahon makes his triumphant return to the head of the WWE and promptly sells it to the Saudis.
well, that has not been confirmed officially. But yes, it looks like that's what's happening.
Right.
But what a big swinging dick Vince is. Okay, so he about a month ago, he indicated that he would like to come in for the board again as its chief executive for the board.
Yeah, he wants
During
creative.
this transitional period, because they're coming up on their essentially their transitional period for their money. So are they going to sign a new contract? What are the licenses going to be? All of that stuff. And so about a month ago, he kind of said, well, I would like to come back in. And he was aggressively downvoted. And they said, no, there's no chance. So he pulled out his grapefruits and said, okay, well, I still own 80% of the voting power. So I'm the new executive chair of the board, and I'm bringing 2 people in. So you go ahead and get rid of those 3. One of those 3 being the guy that is investigating him for his
Sexual harassment.
using
Yeah.
public or company funds to pay off contracts on his I don't even know what you'd call them.
Lady friends.
Lady friends. Yeah, let's go lady friends. Nicely.
Massage therapist.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Masseuse.
So yeah, he just literally
Mhm.
pulled it out and said, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. He was voted back in as the chairman of the board. And because he basically said, I will not allow any license to be signed. I will not allow any contract to be signed because I have all of the voting power. So unless you bring me in, it will not happen.
Right.
And the stock went up by 10%.
17.
17% now? Okay.
Yeah, 17%.
So the current
Yeah.
valuation of WWE is somewhere between $5 and $6 billion currently.
Shit. So much.
The front runner right now, yes, is the Saudi Arabia public investment fund, essentially.
public
So it's
investment
essentially the prince's spending fund to do everything that they do,
Yeah.
which is purchasing. They purchased rights for Newcastle.
Newcastle
Golf.
Which team
United.
was it now?
Yeah, they
Is it
started
New-
Live Golf. Yeah,
They
it was
started
Newcastle
Live Golf.
United. Yeah, they started Live
Yeah.
Golf. Right.
And many other things. They've invested a lot of their public funds to buy up entertainment properties and sports properties over the last 7 or 8 years, something like that, including a big contract with the WWE for them to hold events in Saudi Arabia over the last 5 years or so. So they are the current front runners, but they are not the only people apparently bidding in this situation. Bob Iger, the president of Disney, is also apparently potentially putting his hat in the ring on this. I believe ESPN is also doing something. NBC Universal, who currently holds their licensing contracts for their stuff, is also going to be bidding on this. And I don't know, we'll see potentially, what if Amazon takes a swing for it just because they have a fucking $800+ billion valuation currently? But yeah.
So they are part owners of EA, Take-Two, and Activision Blizzard, and they own 5% of Nintendo.
That's interesting.
And Live Golf,
Mm-hmm.
Live Golf. There's a bunch of other shit in here too.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at all the shit. It's so interesting.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Uber.
it's tens of billions of dollars, and it's tied directly to the Saudi crown.
They are estimating the value at $620 billion for that.
Hundreds and hundreds of billions. I
Yeah,
read,
that's why
I
was
read
like,
60 something billion. I must have read that wrong.
Seemingly
$620 billion is the rough estimate of what that is worth currently.
Mhm.
Seemingly, the offer expected for WWE, if it is from the Saudi investment fund, public investment fund, is going to be 10 bill.
It's tough to turn down that cash.
Yeah. And that's actually why they eventually did bring in Vince, because as much of a degenerate he is behind the scenes, that dude knows money and is good with it. So that's why why we saw, as soon as he hit the board again, a 17% increase on their stock valuation.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Just don't let him take creative control again.
No, he's already come out and said that
he's not going to do that.
Stephanie's going to stay CEO. Triple H is going to stay as head of content and creative.
She actually stepped away yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, did that happen yesterday? I missed that.
Yeah. No, she stepped away. It is fully on Nick Khan as the
okay.
CEO,
he was the co.
and
Paul
Levesque as the creative.
Let's call him how everybody knows him. That's Triple H.
Yeah.
That's
Hunter
Hearst Helmsley.
He's not Triple H anymore. He's
always
going anymore. Supposedly,
he's always going to be Triple H.
He's going to be Triple H.
Right.
It's like the Sheik is still the Sheik, baby.
Well, no.
True.
Does anybody really ever know what the Sheik's real name was?
No.
No.
I heard it once.
The Rock.
I can't remember what that was.
Everyone knows who The Rock is.
Right.
But no, yeah. So
he's not Terry Bollea. He's Hulk
we
Hogan.
watched a terrible, not so terrible The Rock movie last night. I thought it was cute. Jungle Cruise.
that one's not bad, actually.
It was not terrible. It was basically The Mummy.
Oh wow, yeah.
But it wasn't bad, and like The Rock is good in it because he has all those dumb puns. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and
And
Vince
part of it
is
is
still
like The Ride,
Right.
And you know how they have all the dumb puns? He goes through all of them in about 3.5 minutes.
does he?
Glorious.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Vince is still being investigated and still paying back all of the ill-gotten funds that he used to pay off his mistresses.
$10 billion goes a long way to pay off a lot of bullshit.
I think that's what happened too. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I need
like,
cash.
Yeah.
I need a lot of money quick.
I need a lot of money.
877, call the Saudis.
Oh, and it helps that you can sell the stock publicly, which they did. and still own 80% of the voting.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody looks at it like, wait, how did that happen?
Well, I mean, as a company, when you do that, you can determine how much of the company
The
you're gonna
voting
sell,
power.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can sell. They sold 20% of the shares.
And I
That's all
believe
they
he
did.
had no, they sold everything that wasn't bought out from their private sale was 2/5 voting, not a full voting power. So his one vote counts as one vote, while everyone else that holds it holds 2/5 of a vote.
That's
So
a fun
that's how
contract.
you maintain 80%
Yeah.
and still make billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's good to be the king.
Yeah.
All
Good for
right. Yep. Good for him. Great job. All right. That's enough of that. All right. Gentlemen, we're done. Final thoughts, starting with you, Tank. Talk about the thing. Talk about all the things. What do you got?
Oh yeah. Tank Knox and Knox Nostalgic. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those things. God, I kind of wanted to see the Lions win. I'm kind of depressed about that, to be honest. I wanted to see the Lions in the playoffs. I hate Seattle, so it makes it worse that they're the reason that Lions didn't get in. But go Jacksonville. Go Giants,
Indeed.
just because.
Well, I mean, that would make you right. So
Yeah. Well, not even because I'm right, just because the fucking Vikings are frauds and they deserve to be shown out on national television that they suck
Right.
again.
That's generally where they get put
Yeah.
out there. It's
watch
only an
Justin Jefferson go for 300 yards. Just
If
go
he does, that
batshit
would be
crazy.
amazing.
Right.
That would be so good.
And it's not Kirk Cousins. Who's their backup?
Who knows?
Um,
It's not Blaine Gabbert.
Vikings. Nick Mullins?
Oh, Nick
Is it
Mullins,
Nick Mullins?
the former 49ers backup who famously beat Denver.
Oh shit! And his backup is Josh Rosen. Let's get
Yeah.
Josh Rosen out there. Give him.
Nick Mullins is kind of good, actually.
Yeah, Nick Mullins can play.
Nick Mullins is like not inefficient. He's pretty good.
Well, I'm just saying. Let's
And he
get
can play
Josh
well.
Rosen out there. Yeah, he throws up 300 yards, gets it all to Justin.
Does he wear chains? Does he have the same chain game as Kirk Cousins? That's the question.
As Kirk Thuggins, no.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I'll let that one breathe for a minute.
Mark, your final thoughts.
The shirtless Kirk Thuggins.
Kurt Huggins. I didn't like that. Just in case you didn't get it the first time.
That was
Anyway.
that was Jefferson who gave him that nickname.
I know, but Kirk
He still
Cousins
doesn't like it.
wanted us to like things, and I don't like that. Anyway, join us next week. We'll talk about nerdy shit. And yeah, that's all I really got. Our gambling takes are not forms of what you should call as gambling because we're really bad at this. So don't come after us.
Oh yeah, don't take
Oh, yeah.
anything I say.
Oh
as
yeah,
a
we're
burden
terrible.
off
We're
you.
absolutely terrible.
Well, actually, come after us because it's fun. We'll just make fun of you.
Yeah, that's fun too. Absolutely. Make sure you check us out on all of the socials. You can find us at My Brother is an Idiot on Facebook, the Idiot Goons on Twitter. Mark's Twitter is at Poffeltime. My Twitter is at Poffelupagus. You can also find me on TikTok at King Goon Smoke. Pretty quiet this week on the old Tiki Talk. However, next week I'm going to be in Cabo. Expect shenanigans.
Have fun.
Shenanigans will happen.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans will absolutely happen, including stuff on a boat. So can't wait for that.
Flippy floppies.
I'm on
Flippy
a boat.
floppies. Yep.
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat and it's going fast and I got a nautical theme Pashmina Afghan. That's fucking Lonely Island. Love those guys.
Oh my God. I'm on a boat, motherfucker.
We're going to send out our annual, weekly, all the time requests. Gene Mingo, reach out. We'd love to talk to you. Love to have you on the show.
Mingo.
Gene Mingo,
I
you're
love
the best. For Tank and the one with the hair, the absent dipshit, and of course, we love you, BOT. This has been My Brother's an Idiot. My name is Matt. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
It's almost baseball season when it's time for Cleveland Spider stuff. Bruh.
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 You could hit the button anytime, bruh.
Button.